that mineral line, see if you can pick off a drone or two. Now you got to be wary of a counterattack, because that's what's going to come, and you have to have units back at home ready for it. So you just kind of run in circles, keep him sort of guessing. Now, the way that I would have preferred for that to have gone, and this is again something we can talk about more after this game. And you're probably feeling like you're really starved for gas right now. It's because
that's because I have one guy on gas.
Yeah.
That is super frustrating.
Good.
That's okay.
You got to make units. You can't make drones right now because you've kind of sacrificed map control.
Lings.
Now that little harassment would have been a lot more effective if you had run up his ramp with half your lings and left the other half in the back of his natural to kill that hatchery.
Okay.
That's kind of a mechanic you need to master in ZvZ. Two-prong ling attacks. And he has his expo up now, so once you feel like you're safe again, once you feel like you have enough units to not die, you can go back to droning. Wow.
So because he's getting his expo up, so he's going to be building probably a lot of drones, I'm okay to drone a little bit.
Yeah, and there's ways to be sure. Like if you could kind of jockey an overlord around to the back, like between, or like it's just basically behind his mineral line, and you can see kind of what his saturation looks like, and you want your saturation to sort of match that. That doesn't mean build drones right now. Actually, you see his roaches there.
Okay.
What that means is, if you feel safe, you see how big his army is. You just saw it. Do you feel like you can engage that army?
With these roaches and my lings.
Yeah, I would feel like you're pretty safe. So I would make a couple more drones.
Okay.
You do want to get your +1 going.
I'm just so starved for gas.
Yeah. So add more gas. Very simple.
Okay. Yeah.
And at this stage of the game, ZvZ really turns into, who can squeeze out more drones without dying.
Yeah, I just lost the game, and I think the majority of it was positioning, and then he was like 3 or 4 drones ahead of me all game, and that's a killer.
That'll do it. So, there, oh, careful. J-Mag hates his own gas geyser. Stay on top of those injections. You're still, at this point, I would be kind of in full-on roach production, which you are. I would take your 4th gas. And notice how your minerals are stacking up. This is going to happen in ZvZ. Careful with your lings. Good. Very, very good. Good vision. It's common and normal and okay to take a macro hatchery in. And he's getting right out of there. So you can put a macro hatch down, or you can expand, one or the other. I don't really care which. But you have to get a 3rd hatch in the mid-game. When you have upgrades, you are making roaches. You're doing all the right stuff. You have 3 overlords on the way, so at this point you kind of have to start deciding whether or not you want to tech and what tech you want to add. I love how active you're being with these zerglings. This is so good.
Thank you.
3rd hatch in base. Awesome stuff. You have 30 drones. Okay, that's
yeah, I feel like my saturation's a little low.
Yeah, a little lacking. So you're low on minerals, high on gas, so maybe pull 3 guys out of gas and put them back on minerals. And I feel like, when you find yourselves in these situations where you're like, I'm behind on drones, you can do a couple things. You could try to attack and see if you can do damage.
Okay, so he has +1, so he's slightly ahead of me on upgrades.
No, you have +1 as well.
Okay. Oh yeah, I just barely got it. Okay.
Alright, so you could try to make a little attack right here. Roaches and lings together are very, very potent because roaches overkill when they attack zerglings. So if he's attacking your zerglings, then he's being inefficient with his damage. So roachling is actually going to do better than just pure roach most of the time.
When am I going to start thinking about infestors?
When your economy can sustain it, which is not right now, because you feel really taxed right now. And so I've been kind of pushing you to go attack. I don't think it's going to happen at this point. We've waited a little bit too long.
Okay. I didn't really know that you were wanting me to attack, but that's okay.
Yeah, that is okay, and it's not, attacking isn't something necessary. Now you're starting to kind of stack up some cash a little bit. You're still adding more roaches than drones, which is dangerous.
Okay.
I mean, you're mining on 2 bases. You have to have 2 bases of saturation, which is 44 drones.
Okay. So I feel my gas getting pretty high at this point.
Now it's time for the infestors.
Okay.
You have 2 idle drones at your macro hatch.
Yes, I most certainly do. You never rally those guys.
Army. You see he actually has invested in what?
I do not know. Infestors.
Can't tell by looking at his roaches?
I'm trying to click them actually.
Oh, just look at the roaches. Just run past them.
Yeah, okay, so he has significantly more upgrades than I do. He has double evo.
And his roaches also have spikes on their head. What does that mean?
Oh, I don't actually know.
Tunneling claws.
That's sad. Okay.
And our macro is starting to slip a little bit. We don't want that to happen. You're at 160 supply. This is the first time in the game that you're actually behind in supply.
So do you think I should be taking another hatch, or?
You do need to expand, but you'll notice that he's still on 2 bases as well. So if you were to invest in an expansion right now, it might be a little bit dangerous. Because if he's spending all his money on units, and you're spending all your money on units except for this hatchery, and you see he just did throw up an expansion. You saw that, right?
Yes. Oh, Christ.
Die, hatch, go, little wing!
Most of my wings are dead.
You have caught up in drones, which is good.
Yep.
But now he's on 3 hatch. And where's his army?
His army, I believe, is burrowed right under his hatch. They definitely could have moved.
You could definitely use your overseer to verify that. You have your infestors there with your roaches.
I don't want him to infest do whatever.
Yeah, you don't want to get fungled on a ramp. That would be bad. But you want to find him. And there he is. And he's burrowed, dude. If you fungal him while he's burrowed, he can't get up.
Oh my god. See, that I actually don't even know. There's a lot of things I don't know about this game. Okay, so I am max.
You're not really
I've got
treating this with the urgency that you need. He's getting a 3rd base. That will cement the game for him. You are max. Okay. Your economy's in a good place. You don't want that 3rd to finish. Get your infestors up there. If his army is not up there, and you see that it's not, then you can hit the 3rd. You can fungal him on the ramp. You'll have the positioning, and you'll be in great shape. But you can't waste time. You're just dilly-dallying right now. You're just sitting here, like playing with yourself. You got to go. All right. So make sure your infestors come up, and if he comes up that ramp, you fungal him on the ramp. Fungal him on the ramp. Oh no!
My infestors were too far behind.
As you can see, he has significantly better positioning than you do.
Yes.
And he's probably going to win this fight because of it. Especially when you take into consideration that he has the upgrades going in his favor as well.
Oh, my infestors are fungal.
Yep.
And this is terrible positioning, but...
Yep. So what is our lesson here?
Positioning is super important and not messing around.
Yes. Oh. Positioning is important. Not messing around is important. You have to, if you're gonna utilize the infestors like that, you knew where his army was.
Yeah.
You knew you wanted to fungal him on the ramp, but your infestors were stuck behind your roaches.
Yeah, they were. Well, I always try and protect my infestors, but then they're always behind, so...
I mean, yeah, you want to protect your infestors, you're right. And I'm not saying that it's always wise to lead with them. But you know, you just have to recognize opportunities when they present themselves. When his whole army is burrowed, and you have like 6 fungals at your disposal, you need to be like, LOL.
Yeah.
That's the fungal growth sound. and now he's stuck, and he loses the game.
Gotcha.
So let's get you back up and do it again.
So you want me to open the same way?
Yeah, I thought that was great. I mean, it was a really even, good game. You just
putting those guys on gas will certainly be helpful.
Yeah, that would allow you to macro a little bit earlier. And you know, we learned a good lesson, and we said in the beginning that it's important that we understand that that positioning is as important as it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, the more I play this game, the more I learn, like, it's so important. And that's what I think is so neat / difficult to deal with about Protoss, is force fields create superior positioning for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then Terran just has tanks, so the positioning is irrelevant. I'm just kidding. I don't actually know anything about playing Terran.
Well, Terran players control space with their powerful ranged army.
Yeah.
Protoss players control space with force field, as you said. And fungal growth is the Zerg way of controlling space, and it's maybe not as good as force field, but it's still very, very powerful.
Whenever you spawn on maps like this, do you send your Overlord close air positions first, or do you send it close ground positions?
I send it close air positions always in ZvZ. Because if you see this, if you see that you are in the positions that you are in, it does a couple things for you. One, it says you're probably safe to do some sort of fast expand. And two, it gives you the option of sending a drone to block his fast expand. You know, you see he's not actually fast expanding, so we're not going to do that.
Okay. So he's going pool first.
Mm-hmm. And we're going gas
doesn't
first.
Tell me much except the kids on the ladder that I play. Normally that would mean some sort of one base rush.
Well, that's a lot of information, actually. And importantly, this is going to tell you that your speed is going to be done well before his.
Okay.
So your Zerglings will be able to do some sort of damage.
Gotcha.
Or if nothing else, force a spine crawler, which is still damage. It's indirect
That's,
damage.
yeah,
It's damage.
Technically damage. Actually, I have a random question. On Shakura's, which direction do you send your Overlord? Do you send it...
to the rock.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Yes.
You know,
I never know where to send it on that map.
You know that you can't spawn both on the same side of the map, right?
I don't actually know if I know that.
On Shakur's Plateau, it's basically a two-player map. If you're on the left side, he's on the right side somewhere. He will never be on the left side with you.
Okay. No, I wasn't actually aware of that.
So now you know.
I'm learning so much.
And that will make scouting with that Overlord, that'll make that decision much easier.
Yeah. And so you just leave those guys off gas for now.
Yep. Maybe leave one mining, as you have done.
Yep.
And the reason for this is if we decide we need to get some banelings out, that facilitates that.
Gotcha.
So here you are, you're in his face, you see lings, and you know your speed is going to finish first, so just kind of don't commit until your speed's done. And he's going banelings, so we're going to want to get a baneling nest of our own. And he's surrendering map control, which is really bad if you're going to go banes. So inject, start your baneling nest. I'd put a second guy in gas, not a third.
Okay. And what should I be building? Just lings right now?
Just lings, pure lings. And you see he's got lings as well. So and he's out of his base. So your speed's done. So get in his base. Go into his base. Run around. Go into his base.
Go into his base. Don't attack those
fight.
lings.
Go into his base.
I'm sure those lings are going to my base, though. That's
what. That's fine. You're making lots of
me.
lings. You have enough stuff to deal with it, and you're going to do damage back in his base. You have the larva advantage.
Okay,
and
so
he's
I
running
lost.
up your ramp.
And my dudes are doing nothing.
Okay, you're okay. You need to be building units, though. You've got a lot of unspent larvae. and just don't let these banelings do catastrophic damage, and you'll be fine.